Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I, of course, am Carl, and we are here to bring you another episode of Vacuum Exposition. Now, as I've kind of been following in suit for a while, and that's mostly due to circumstances that have come up, this, of course, will kind of be a two-part video. Not two-part as in we'll do one this week, one next week. Two parts as in we are going to start with some vacuums rescued, as well as the exposition for today that you have probably seen in the thumbnail by now. So, but anywho, it has been a fantastic last few weeks. Of course, we were in April. I just got back from my Europe trip, and we kind of started off with, some reclamations and some requisitions as acquisitions, and really all the kind of fun that we have here in the Constellation Carl Vacuum Cleaner Collection. Now, as I've stated in a few other videos, my good friend Jared has been getting rid of a lot of machines from his collection, and today is a little bit of a special episode because of him, so we'll get into that in a little bit. But I have been slowly making my way through a good majority of the things that I've gotten from him. So that has thus provided us with more content for Vacuums Rescued. So we'll get into that in a few minutes here. Now we are moving on into May, and we are kicking off the month of May with a machine that is very, very special to me. As many of you know, or many of you may remember, my birthday is May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, also been called Cinco de Carlo for those that have been celebrating with me for a while. But so that meaning that it is going to be a special month that we are going to be taking a look at a new series. And for that series, I figured I would actually do something I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and that's do a month of Japanese machines that I've gotten from my good friend Jared, starting with today. Now, that being said, we do have some fantastic machines to take a look at. Maybe some of you guys might remember from Vacuums Rescued. But either way, we have plenty of stuff to look at. I have gotten a lot from him over the years, and I cannot wait to show you guys them. So, without further ado, let's get on to our video for today and start off with some vacuums rescued. All right, everybody, so we've got some more special finds from Jared. Starting up, we have this awesome little Hoover Junior Model 1348. These came out in, I believe, the late 70s, at least this one did. This was one that he's had for quite some time, and it is a really, really neat little machine. I believe it has a couple of replacement parts on it. I think the bag might be, as well as the front cover, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know Juniors too well, but we will get into that one later. Now, with the Hoover Juniors, I have done a couple of videos on them in the past, but they were primarily a British machine and very, very popular over there, and some people even only collect those. So they're very, very cool. This one was actually, if some of you might remember, we did a video with Jared's collection. It was the very first one I did, probably 2 or 3 years ago now. And this was one of the lineup that we got out to film at his house. So very, very special to have this one. And very happy to be able to give it a home. So following up with that, we have a Filter Queen Princess. These came out in, I believe, the early 80s. This particular machine normally would not be super special. There was a lot of them made. Many, many people had them. But this one came from Jared, and this one is actually a Japanese machine. So it has a bunch of different stickers and whatnot that are all in Japanese. And overall, it is just in fantastic shape. These particular machines usually got used and abused here in the U.S., so it's very, very nice, and definitely a breath of fresh air to find one that's in such good shape. I mean, the original hose even is perfectly gray looking and not kind of grimy or anything like hoses tended to get over the years. So that one we may see in a later video. Now, the final machine that we have to chat about today is this beautiful Electrolux Model 89E, or 89 Electronic. Now, why I say that is because it is a power nozzle machine. I did chat with my good friend Doug Smith about that He is in Canada, and I even got one from him a very, very long time ago. Now, this isn't the one that I got from him. Jared actually got this from another collector about 6, 7 months ago. And with Jared getting rid of things, he let me have it. But I absolutely love this machine. I've actually been using it as my daily, well, for the past couple weeks now. So Electroluxes, and more specifically this particular model, are just so quiet. And that one having kind of a trigger so that the power nozzle is not always on definitely helps for the noise level. So it does have a replacement extension wand as well as a replacement hose, but that's okay. That means that I can use it. That means I don't have to worry about, if it thumps against something, or it can run against the wall and whatnot. And I'm not going to worry about it. It does have a few issues here and there. The cord winder, unfortunately, the spring reel on it had snapped and broken. And unfortunately, it's not very easy to find parts here in the US for these. So what I ended up doing is reeling in the cord all the way back in, and then putting in a knot on the cord so that you can't pull the cord out. So basically, the end of the cord that is out of the machine is more so a pigtail. So I just hook up an extension cord to it. That's how I use it. But otherwise, they're just so quiet. They glide right behind you. So these machines coming out of the kind of late 60s definitely did a fantastic job, and I probably will use it again today. So super, super happy with that one. I'm going to get it cleaned up, and I'll just enjoy it. My other one has a kind of a brittle plastic extension wand, and I love having it as an original, and I'll probably pull it out at some point just to get it out and run it again. But I don't want to cause any unnecessary wear on that one, so I will use this one as kind of my dink around machine, and that one's kind of like a special occasion type machine. So, but that's all I have for you guys for vacuums rescued today. All three of these are just fantastic machines. They do very, very well. Even the Junior, being something that was more meant for a smaller space, tended to have pretty good floor and carpet agitation, and well, did a pretty decent job. They all need a little bit of work cosmetically. I think the Filter Queen just needs to have a quick wipe down and dusting. The Electrolux, kind of the same. It does have a few scuffs and whatnot that I'm going to try to use some elbow grease and get those off. But the Junior is definitely going to need the most out of all of them. It has the scuffs and everything like the others do, but the bag actually has some holes that have generated in it. So I'll see what I can do to patch those up and practice my stitches. So, but that's what I have for you guys for vacuums rescued. So let's get on to our exposition for today, and we'll go from there. All right, everybody. So this machine is really, really cool. Now, I mentioned this one a couple weeks back now in Vacuums Rescued, that this was one that I got from Jared, of course. And this is one that's actually pretty special to me. But we'll get on to that in a little bit. Now, what we're looking at today is a 1981 Toshiba Pack and Clean model VC-333. Now, I know a lot of you won't necessarily quite know what we're taking a look at here. Carl, it doesn't look like a vacuum. It doesn't look like even a canister or an upright. How do you use it? Is it a robot? And no, it is not. Now, I know that when you ask certain things in AI to draw you pictures of vacuums, they kind of come out looking like this, oddly enough. But no, this is actually a Japanese machine. This came from Japan. My good friend Jared imported it over here. He is a huge fan of Japanese machines, in case anybody didn't know. So this was one that came up, and he really liked the color, and of course, he ended up needing to have it. So, which totally cool, because I'm super glad that he was able to get one of these, because, well, it means a lot in a few different ways. Now, as for the history on pack and clean machines, now this is in no way a new concept for any vacuum cleaner. For instance, these were sold, or they had some of these were similar under the Sanyo line. They sold them in Sears. and a few others, sometimes under the Kenmore name, other times just under the Sanyo name. But a lot of companies had machines that had uh, some way of storing tools. This one just happens to have it in, well, a very nice carrying case that goes, well, connected to the bottom of the machine. Now, we've talked about it a lot, but a lot of vacuum cleaners, of course, have had and still have onboard tools. Onboard tools usually means that they click on someplace around the vacuum cleaner, and thus, they make it so that you can do more than one type of cleaning at a time. Awesome concept. Many machines have used it and still do, and really does build the value in a lot of these things. This was no different. Now, in Japan, of course, they are working with a little bit more limited space. This being a very, very good example, because honestly, the vacuum portion of this is not very big. And I'll demonstrate how that works right here. There we go, a little vacuum right on the top. And then in here, you'd have all your tools, your hose, and everything that would be needed in order to do, well, your cleaning. Now, this little machine, of course, Toshiba, as many of us are familiar with, makes things like TVs and other assorted electronic goods. And they actually did make other vacuum cleaners, but they weren't very popular. I believe they came out in the 90s, but they really didn't have a strong following because other brands kind of had taken that role already. But this little machine came out in the 80s in Japan. They were meant to go in the back closet, and of course, with everything inside here, you didn't have extra storage. You didn't even have to store the hose like up on the hook or anything like you did with other canisters here in the US. Because these machines, I mean, they really didn't have a whole lot of space. Now, the Japanese did get a lot of machines from us, including things like Kirby's, but they were a very, very high dollar item, and not a lot of people ended up having them. These were way, way, way more common, and thus more people used little things like this. Now, Jared got this a few years back, and he definitely likes the little Japanese machines, and they all end up emulating a very similar shape. They all kind of have almost like this, well, I almost want to compare it to like a motorcycle tank, because they're just fairly small and they have this very generic almost shape, just rounded, interesting little shape there. But it is a really, really interesting machine. Now, I did look for ads for this for hours trying to find something out there. And truth be told, if there were ads for this, they were, of course, in Japan. And, well, not a lot of people looked at them for the ads. They probably just went into a store and bought them. Maybe there was an ad for them at the store, but unfortunately, I haven't been able to find them. And of course, we're looking at 20, 30, 40 years ago since this thing was out. So, that stuff could have been lost to time many, many years ago. However, there is some interesting calling cards about this that just kind of emphasize where this came from. Of course, it does have a suction meter up on the top of the handle to let you know when or if it is not getting suction. And that is, of course, also in Japanese. Now, it does, of course, have the name Toshiba Pack and Clean on the front in English. However, because of the people that would have had this, this machine really was perfectly suited for a different country. I mean, if you look at other machines from other countries, like say you were in France or Italy, you'd get a vacuum cleaner with instructions that were in that language. So Italian, Spanish, anything like that. This, no different. So very, very interesting machine. I, of course, am a huge fan, and a big fan because it's green. Now, Jared also likes green, which is why he got it, of course, but it is definitely one that I love for that aspect alone. Now, getting back into how special this machine is. Now, this machine alone, without any context, is a very utilitarian piece. It is used to be a vacuum cleaner. That's it. That's just convenience of storage, all of that great stuff. With Japanese machines, the majority of them actually had the on switch on the hose. So that was another factor about these. They really were just for usability. Now, I say this is special because and thankfully I have pictures to support this, but one of my very first trips to go visit Jared, me and my good friend Mitchell had gone down to visit him and do some trading and whatnot, and Jared had recently gotten this in the mail, and he actually did a demonstration for us. It showed us all about it and everything, and maybe I'll even recreate some of those pictures. But I'll show those pictures of his little demonstration right here. Now, as you can see, it is the same little machine, and of course, definitely one that he really, really liked. And given the circumstances, I know he didn't want to get rid of this one, but I'm glad that I was the one that was able to save that instead of it getting tossed or donated or anything like that. So, but what he was showing in those pictures was right here. So essentially, what this is a way of getting dirt and dust off of the filter in here. So this would essentially just kind of click against the pleats of the filter and dust it off. But interestingly enough, how you would dump this little machine is actually, there is actually no bag. So right here, you have this little switch that you would pull, and that is actually more of like a dump trap. So you would take it over and you would just, take it to your garbage can and dump. So making this a pretty easy machine, and you didn't have to buy a whole bunch of bags in order to, well, use it. So very, very interesting, and definitely a good little piece to have if you just need something to do your small one-bedroom apartment, kind of like what I have. But now I only have carpet, so it will. They were used to doing that, but we'll look at that more in the run demo. But like I said, this is a very, very special machine. It goes right back and connects to a really good memory between me and Mitchell and Jared, and but it does go back to a moment when me and Jared's friendship was at the very beginning, and that is definitely something that I respect and honor as best as I can. And it is one that is not going anywhere. So, but anyways, let's get on to our run demo and see how the little pack and clean does on the floor. All right, everybody, so we have the little Toshiba Pack and Clean all plugged in and ready to go. As I said, the switch is actually up in the handle, so we'll get that all ready to rock, and we'll see how it does on the carpet. So let's get to it. Well, the little pack and clean actually packs a good punch. Now, while I was using the floor tool, it is normally meant for doing hardwood or hard surfaces, so it does get a little bit stuck in the carpet with the brush on the back, but it did still do a really good job and was able to pick up a good amount. I am pretty proud of that. Now, you do have to be a little bit careful, especially on carpet with these, just because those extension wands are very, very thin and very flexible PVC piping, so that plastic. But overall, still did a great, great job. And then even without the floor tool, this thing still has a lot of power coming off of that hose. So it makes complete sense why these would have been kind of the master key to cleaning in Japan during that time frame. So definitely a really, really fun one to be able to get out and use. So I hope you guys all enjoyed our little run demo for today. Well, everybody, I hope you all enjoyed our little video today. I know we did kind of a lightning round with the vacuums rescued, and that's really how I can do it for you in order to get through everything and be able to show you guys. It has been really, really fun being able to go through all this stuff and not only get it out and test it out, but also clean it up, and we'll get it back to a place of which it will be admired and displayed in my little collection here. Now, the Pack and Clean, like I said, this is a very, very interesting machine just for the build and the performance, and as well as just how novel it is to have all the storage down here. But it's also a very special machine. It's one that, like, I'm very, very happy to have, one that I feel very lucky to have, because when this showed up at my house here, and when Mitchell brought it to me, I did not know this was coming my way. So it was definitely a good surprise, and one that I will treasure forever. So, but I hope you all enjoyed our little video today. It certainly was really, really fun. And of course, to kick off my Japanese series this month, I am super, super happy that this was the one to start it. And again, a tremendous thank you to Jared. I know that he just had his last day at his job down in Oregon, and then he moves up here to Washington this month. So I am definitely looking forward to hopefully seeing him soon, now that he resides in my home state, and be able to, well, continue doing vacuum stuff with him. So Jared, again, a big, big thank you. And of course, you don't have to worry about it. I'll take very good care of this and really anything that I get from you. So, but anywho, you guys all have a great rest of your weekend, and of course, a fabulous rest of your day. Also, don't forget to have fun on Cinco de Mayo. Of course, it is my birthday, so I know I'll be doing something with my wife. But go out, have a good time, and well, think of old Constellation Carl, because it is the day that I, well, came to this world. So, but anywho, you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day, y'all.